You know, after everything that happened out at Coyote Pass, and then you bringing up therapy to me, I really had to pause. I found myself praying, just asking, okay, God, what am I supposed to do with all of this? With the way I'm feeling? With this whole mess? And the more I sat with it, the more I felt this pull, almost like a nudge telling me, you need to apologize. Hey, besties, welcome back to the channel. So, in this episode of Sister Wives, we see Kody Brown and Robyn Brown sitting down for another one of their deep talks. Now, keep in mind, most of what you see on that show is heavily staged. Kody can be a chronic exaggerator, and Robyn, well, she has a way of guiding things to land exactly where she wants them. And since the two of them only seem willing to film when they're at a restaurant these days, we get yet another dinner scene. This time, Kody tells Robyn he wants to apologize to his ex-wives. He says he wants to set them free, let go of the hostility, and make amends for the hurtful things he said during their separations. But here's what really caught my attention. Robyn doesn't respond the way you'd expect. Instead of encouraging him to apologize, which, if she believes he's the good man she constantly says he is, you'd think she'd be thrilled, she tries to talk him out of it. And honestly, that's strange. If he hurt these women, why wouldn't she want him to make things right? Why wouldn't she support healing? It just doesn't add up. Well, there might be a reason. Over on Patreon this week, Mykelti opened up about some of the issues she and her siblings have with Kody. Tony added his own perspective too. And according to them, and from what we've heard from others like Gabriel, Savannah, and Maddie, the core problem is this. Most of Kody's estranged kids refuse to reconnect with him as long as Robyn is in the picture. They say Robyn manipulates him. They say she's the one who fuels these rifts. And while they absolutely acknowledge that Kody himself is stubborn, egotistical, and often self-centered, they also say that whenever he does try to do the right thing, Robyn shuts it down. Fast. Usually behind the scenes, where the cameras don't catch it. For example, whenever the family tried confronting Kody about financial concerns, Robyn would later tell him things like, if that's the direction you want to take, fine, but I'll leave you, I'll divorce you, and I'll take everything. According to them, that's her pattern. If Kody even thinks about reconciling with his other kids or the former wives, she threatens to walk and threatens to take a lot with her. And because Kody is desperate to hold on to the one relationship that hasn't fallen apart, he backs down. Every time. On top of that, the kids say Robyn constantly paints herself as the victim, claiming they've wronged her or mistreated her, when in reality, she's often the one stirring the pot. Whether it's money issues, shifting stories, or twisting situations to suit her narrative, they've seen it enough times that they simply don't trust her. And that's the real heart of the problem. They don't trust Robyn at all. They don't trust her intentions. They don't trust that she won't turn their words into ammunition. They don't trust that she won't pull Kody away from them again. And they definitely don't trust that she won't manipulate him into shutting them out, just like before. So for them, reconciliation isn't just about Kody. As long as Robyn is influencing everything behind the scenes, they want no part of it. Now, don't get me wrong. The kids absolutely have their issues with Kody, too. They're not blind to his faults. But when it comes to Robyn, their feelings are even stronger. And honestly, from their perspective, it makes sense. She's not their mother. They were never required to accept her. And in their words, Dad threw us away for her. They believe she isn't a good influence, and that being with her has made Kody's worst qualities even worse. In their minds, the two of them together create a combination that's toxic for the rest of the family. Before we talk about why Robyn doesn't want Kody to apologize, let me remind you what apologizing would actually mean. If Kody apologizes now, he'd be walking back all the harsh decisions he made on Robyn's behalf. The decisions where he basically kicked everyone out because they mistreated her. Robyn would see that as a betrayal, and apologizing would also mean she'd have to face her own role in everything. And that's the part she absolutely doesn't want. So let's take a stroll through what I like to call Robyn's greatest hits. These are the moments where she showed exactly why the rest of the family struggles to trust her. Here are some of her own words over the years. "Well, you kind of blame me. I hate it. It makes me angry. It's insulting." Anytime a wife in a plural family is controlling a husband enough to affect other relationships, she's a bad person. She says she's tired of it because it has been happening for years. I would help any one of those kids talk to their dad. Make it safe for them. But she never stops to consider whether they feel safe with her. People thinking I'm a bad person because I'm communicating. I'm tired of feeling bad that I have a good relationship with Kody when others don't. That's on them. She constantly paints herself as the misunderstood victim. Janelle made choices. They handed him to me and said, "We don't want to spend time with him." Basically, wives rejected him affection-wise. She frames the other wives as the ones who pushed Kody into her arms. One of the kids called me asking if we can relax the rules. But these aren't my rules. She says she's just an easy target. I didn't sign up for monogamy. I'm tired of being questioned. And yet, she's the only wife who ended up with a fully monogamous marriage. As much as I love Kody, it's stressing me out. I'm worried about the kids not seeing their dad. She claims she wants the children involved, but her actions often say the opposite. My mom calls me the Brown family scapegoat. There's always someone else to blame, never her. Maybe Garrison should reach out to me and make amends. She rarely acknowledges the hurt she may have caused him. We'll have to wait for the kids to come around on their own. Everything is always on the kids' shoulders. I got texts from Gabe and Garrison blaming me for what was going on. She frames their hurt as unfair accusations. There's this unwillingness from some of the family to accept others or make amends. She says this while simultaneously rejecting responsibility. I didn't know Kody told them they couldn't come for Christmas unless they apologize. A very convenient thing to not know. I love those boys. But somehow, the rift never heals. It feels like I'm being forced to choose between my children and this group. But the question becomes, who is really forcing that choice? When have they not been welcome? Meanwhile, the kids recall many moments of being pushed out. One of the kids called me asking about the rules, and I said, "This isn't me. I didn't make up these rules." Except, she's often the one pushing for the strictest boundaries. Kody is not someone to be run by one of his wives. Why would anyone think I'm behind this? Because, well, history. You've got regulations at work. Why can't we have them for the family? Because families need trust, not rule books. I pushed for the video chat for the kids' sake. There is always a reason, always a justification, always a way to make herself look like the one trying the hardest. And that's the pattern. That's why the kids don't believe in her intentions. And that's why Kody apologizing would be a huge problem for her. It unravels her narrative and forces her to face her part in the damage back. Then, when all the pushback kept hitting me from every direction, I finally just thought, Why am I even trying anymore? It felt pointless, completely futile. And eventually I said to myself, fine, I'm done. My kids and I, well, we all felt the same way. Heartbroken, confused, and honestly, just plain sad. Because to us, it looked like yet another reminder that we were the outsiders now, that no matter what we did, we were being pushed to the other side of the line. We weren't choosing to be outsiders. It was like we were simply placed there, and no one cared to pull us back in. Then comes the usual blame game. You're not representing things well for me, he'd say. Stop presenting it like that. Well, then call them, Kody. You always put this back on me, she'd fire back. And then she'd follow it with, that phone goes both ways. I've been available to talk. Yet despite all that, she still found a way to act shocked that Kody thought it was her job to patch things up between him and his kids. And she framed everything she ever did as simply asking people to follow the rules. But in her eyes, those rules somehow justified everything. You cheated me out of contact with my family. We can't get together until we sort this all out. And suddenly, what was once about the pandemic became the new excuse to keep everyone apart. Meanwhile, Kody's anger kept growing. His tone got sharper, more rigid. He kept insisting, those kids need to respect me, in this harsh, all-or-nothing way that honestly felt unsettling. Who demands someone choose between their spouse and their children? Who thinks that's reasonable? And then he flipped the script, turning everything back on her, claiming it was all her fault. She'd say she didn't even recognize the man he'd become. But here's the thing, she wasn't just seeing one side. She was shaping it. Kody kept saying, my boys need to apologize to Robyn. And yes, Garrison confronted her. He called her directly because he believed she was the one pushing all the strict COVID rules. And instead of hearing his pain, she called it weird that he would transmute all that blame onto her. Her words. She insisted she was just following Kody's guidelines. She insisted she wasn't behind any of it. She insisted she was the easy target. But her kids and she, they felt like they'd been voted off the Brown family island, as she put it. That's truly how they saw it. Then came the text from Mykelti, letting everyone know that Robyn and her kids wouldn't be joining that year's gift exchange. And yes, it hurt. That exchange was a small but meaningful family tradition. Losing it felt like another crack. And of course, Robyn said people live for drama and accused others of being dramatic, even though she herself couldn't let anything go. She even dragged personality tests into the mix, saying Christine didn't know her well enough, and then cried over the insult. The cycle never ended. She said she didn't want to be separated from Christine. She said she wanted Kody to fix things with the boys. She said she wanted peace. But then she'd turn around and say, you're all kind of jerks. I don't want to be around you. Meanwhile, the adult kids all reached the same point. Fine, Robyn. Take him. We're done fighting for someone who doesn't fight for us. Because they weren't children anymore. They didn't need a father figure who picked and chose which relationships mattered. They didn't care about the gifts, the special meals, the fancy rentals. The picture-perfect setups. It all felt like a cheap substitute for genuine connection. A hollow version of what a father should be. And the tragic part? Robyn spent years holding a grudge against Kody's sons over the COVID rules. But according to several people close to the family, it wasn't really about safety. It was about filming schedules, control, and keeping certain family members at arm's length. The conflict she helped create eventually turned cruel, emotionally corrosive. One of those boys struggled deeply under the weight of it. His mental health deteriorated. He turned to drinking. And eventually, he couldn't carry the pain anymore. He took his own life. It's heartbreaking, painful, and something no family should ever endure. Kody's paranoia and Robyn's constant reinforcement of it led him to cut off relationships that never should have been severed. She blamed the boys for confronting her. She labeled their concerns unforgivable. And in the end, the consequences were far more devastating than any of them ever expected. It's really no different from that moment years ago when Robyn lied about the personality test. We all watched her take the test herself on the show, on camera, clear as day. But when the results came out and Christine mentioned that the test showed Robyn tended to be dramatic, Robyn suddenly flipped the story. On the tell-all, she claimed Christine had taken the test for her, and she even went as far as calling Christine mean and horrible for pointing out traits Robyn simply didn't want to hear. And here's the thing. Robyn held on to that grudge for years, all because someone pointed out honest parts of her personality that didn't fit the image she wanted to maintain. Robyn got tired of hearing feedback, that she was controlling, that she manipulated Kody, that she influenced his decisions more than she admitted. And yet, in her own words, she once said that if she saw another wife in a plural family controlling a husband in a way that damaged other relationships, she'd call that woman a bad person. But when anyone suggested she might be doing just that, she instantly became the victim. Every time someone tried to address her behavior, instead of owning it, she created drama. She'd turn it into a scene, and somehow the blame always shifted to the kids. She even targeted the children, starting with Hunter, who was just a teenager at the time. She picked at him for years until he finally left the show. Then it was Gabriel and Garrison. She had friction with some of Christine's daughters, too, aside from Mykelti, who she's always favored. Robyn consistently painted the kids as bullies, insisting they were mistreating her and her children, when she was often the one picking the fights. And this dynamic, is at the core of why the entire family fell apart. Because Kody chose Robyn, and then he fought tooth and nail to force everyone else to fall in line with her. He demanded the boys apologize to her for things they didn't do. He demanded the other wives act more like Robyn, more compliant, more obedient, even though she herself has never been particularly submissive. He refused to let certain kids come to his house. Robyn wouldn't allow some of them in her home at all. To this very day, according to people close to the family, Robyn will not allow a single photo of Garrison to hang in her home. His picture is stored out in the garage with Kody's old belongings. That tells you everything about how deep the resentment still runs. Now, with all that in mind, look at her reaction when Kody tells her he wants to apologize. He sits there and says, "I want to own my part in the breakups. I want to set them free. I want them to stop talking about me, stop thinking about me." And she asks, almost cautiously, "So, how are you going to do that?" Kody replies, "I go and apologize." But here's the truth. Kody doesn't want to apologize because he's genuinely sorry. He wants to apologize because he wants the negative talk to stop. He wants people to stop telling the truth about him. He wants the criticism to quiet down so he can feel better about himself. He believes that if he smooths things over a little, the kids and ex-wives will suddenly stop saying anything unflattering. But that's not how healing works. It's never worked like that. And it never will. His motivation isn't empathy, it's reputation management. In that way, he and Robyn are incredibly similar. Robyn hates being confronted with truth, so she becomes the victim. Kody hates being confronted with truth, So he tries to silence the critics, but at the same time, they diverge in one key area. Robyn doesn't want him to make amends, because if he apologizes, he has to admit he mistreated his kids for her sake. He'd have to say, "I put Robyn ahead of you," which would directly contradict the narrative she has fought to protect for years. An apology from Kody would unravel her entire storyline. It would expose the role she played in the chaos. It would force her to face the truth she's tried so hard to outrun. So yes, they are very much alike, but for different reasons and with different fears. These two, Kody and Robyn, are cut from the exact same cloth, yet their motives couldn't be more different. And that's why, when he tells her he wants to apologize, she gets that frozen deer-in-the-headlights look. You can practically see the gears grinding behind her eyes. She says she was shocked when he first told her he wanted to meet with his ex-wives and apologize. She claims she was trying hard not to react, just quietly processing everything. And then she slips in that little line. He says a lot of things that may not even happen. That right there tells you she was simmering underneath the surface. She's pretending she doesn't want to react too much, but really she's annoyed, caught off guard, and completely unwilling to support the idea. And honestly, it doesn't even make sense. If she's always talking about healing and reconciliation and togetherness, why would she be shocked that he wants to apologize? Why would she be confused? Why would she look upset? Unless she doesn't actually want him to mend those relationships at all. Then Kody explains why he feels the need to apologize, what he regrets, what he's been thinking about. And she immediately cuts him off and tells him he shouldn't feel that way. It's classic Robyn. He says, "I want to apologize for being angry when they wanted out." And she jumps in with, "I don't think you should be so hard on yourself about being hurt. That's pretty normal." But Kody continues, "Because I got angry, I caused other hurtful issues." He admits it. He admits he acted badly. He admits he said things he shouldn't have. He acknowledges that he caused more pain for people who were already hurting. He acknowledges that he escalated everything, yelling, accusing, belittling, lashing out. And Robyn? The woman who demanded that Gabriel and Garrison apologize to her over the COVID rules, the same woman who spent years holding that grudge, suddenly doesn't think Kody needs to apologize. Oh, to her that's just being hurt. Yelling, screaming, verbal attacks? No apology needed, apparently. Of course she doesn't want him to apologize, because if he apologizes, he's basically saying, "I shouldn't have fought them for your sake. I shouldn't have chosen you over my kids that way." And she cannot handle that, because that would mean his years of fighting, arguing, shaming, and isolating his kids on her behalf were wrong. And that would invalidate everything she pushed him into. Her reasoning is always the same. Last week it was, "If it means something to you, Kody, then go do it." This week it's, "Well, you were hurt. You don't need to apologize." And that inconsistency? That's Robyn Brown in a nutshell. These two are incredibly destructive. To each other and to everyone around them. And while Kody certainly has narcissistic qualities and his own long list of faults, the reason he will likely never rebuild relationships with his children has more to do with Robyn than anything else. She claims she wants the family healed. She claims she wants peace. She claims she wants everyone to come together. But when he actually tries to take real steps toward that, she slams the door shut. And that's the cycle. That's why this family is where it is. Thanks for watching, besties. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you never miss an upload.